Hello and welcome to episode 8 of building my first model railway. So as you can see, I thought now that my railway is starting to take shape, I would splash out on a proper sign for Chapel Waitscone. And this one is the same I use in the logo of my YouTube channel. So quite pleased with that. It's sort of a laminated plastic, so it's a bit shiny, but it's quite substantial. So yeah, sort of finish it off quite nicely. So in this episode I am going to show you how I did my bridge, drop bridge across the room, and I'm going to finish it off with some iron girders and ballast it as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this episode. As you can see, I've already weathered the actual tracks, and they've got separate feeds, which I'll show you that a bit later. But for now I'm just going to get on with the girders and getting them ready, and then once they're in place I can then ballast and show you how it all works. So these are the Pico girder, bridge girder irons, not quite sure what they're called, which I bought, and I'm just starting to weather them just with the same weathering paints that I've been using for the track themselves, so just to give them some rusty sort of metal-y look. So that's what I'm going to carry on painting them, and then when they're ready I can then put them on the actual bridge. So the paint is now dry on the girders, and I've just stood them on top of the bridge there just to show you how they're going to look. Might move them a little bit further up so there's not such a big gap that end. But yeah, I think they're going to look fine. What I've decided to do, as opposed to just gluing them on, because when the bridge is down there, there's a chance you're going to knock them. So I'm going to actually fit them with magnets and glue some magnets onto the bottom and onto the baseboard. And then, yeah, and then hopefully if you knock them, then they'll just come away. So I think the next step is to glue the magnets onto the bottom, and I'm not sure if to ballast it first or ballast it after. I think I'm going to ballast it first, because I'm worried that otherwise when I ballast it may actually accidentally glue them to the board. So I think what I'm going to do now is ballast it all the way along, and then the magnets should be dry on the bottom then, and then I can connect them. So on here I'll just show you actually how it works. Let me just take those out of the way. So I hadn't done any soldering, so I didn't want to use solder to do the joints. I had seen various different methods of making the rails that line up, and I copied one of them, which is to put screws on. So I don't know if you can see there that I've actually put screws both sides, but instead of soldering them I actually glued them with a epoxy twin pack, which is the same glue I'm going to use for the magnets, which I'll just reach over here and show you it. So it's this rapid. I've used it before. I've used it to glue ceramics to metal and that, and it's once it's set, if you mix it in equal quantities properly, then it sets like concrete, so it's really good. So I used that to actually glue the rails to the screws instead of soldering. So I didn't have any solder kit and hadn't soldered. I've actually now got a soldering kit, but while they hold up then I'll leave it. I suppose if they do come loose I can always solder them afterwards. And you can see there as well as I did a little bit of an overhang here, because the bridge drops down that way, so that when it comes up it lines. And then to make sure it lines up in exactly the right place, I've just added a couple of bits on there really, which is this L piece here, which stops it going any further, so that gets the right height. And there's actually a little piece of wood behind that as well, which pushes it tightly. And that's held in place by this piece of metal there. So it comes up, and then this piece of metal on the top there that stops it going any higher as well. So, you know, between them that all wedges it completely, it just won't move at all, completely in place. And then underneath, all I've got is a normal bolt. You can see that that's the bolt that locks it in position. And then this side, I've got two long hinges. You see that actually initially it was going to be one track, so I did build it just with the one track and the one piece, and then when I made it twin track I've had to rebuild the whole thing again. So I suppose it's better to get it right first time, but I'm quite glad I've now got the two twin tracks running round. So if I unbolt it, in fact, and the other thing is obviously the electrical connections, all I've done is just used joiners with power feeds already soldered to them, and then that's just feeding both lines. And then underneath, you can see there, I've got a joiner, and it's one of those ones that pulls out. So to give it a wiggle and it comes away with the connectors there, so you can see that. So yeah, so that's undone. And then you just unbolt the bottom. Quite tight, but that's deliberate. And then the whole thing, if you can see, the whole thing should then just drop away. Again, it's pretty tight, but that's how I wanted it to be. And then that just lays down there and will actually go around by flush by the door. So you can see that's quite nice. And that gives you the opening in and out. But yeah, you can see that'd be easy to knock the bridge irons once they're actually put on there, so it'd be good to have them on a magnet, I think. But yeah, it works fairly simply. And then obviously to put it up is dead the opposite. Just lift it up, then it gets guided in by them. Can't go any further, can't go any higher. The tracks are nice and flush. And then you just bolt the piece underneath. And then connect the electric back up. So for me, that seems to be working really well. Again, this end I had the overhang the other way. And also, when I cut the tracks, I don't know if you can see that, but the tracks are cut slightly. This side, they're cut at a slight angle that way, so it meets up. And this side, they're actually cut slightly that way on this side, so that again, it comes up and the chamfers into it properly. So that's how it's all connected. So the next step now is to ballast it, and then I can put the actual girders on. Okay, so it's about a week after I started the ballasting, and it's all nice and dry now. It's taken quite a time to dry at this time of year. I did come down after about 2 days. It wasn't dry, but I did open the bridge a little bit. You can just see there where it connected because it was quite glued up. So I had to give it a bit of a bash on my hand to get it to break. And you see there now the join. It's not completely lined there. You can just see. But I think that's just because I've not got it right in the position. But yeah, so I'm going to give it a go again and try and drop it again now. Hopefully it'll drop okay. I'm not even sure I can do it one-handed. But let me just unbolt that. Let's see if it'll. If you can see it in my hand. So yeah, it's going to drop away, so I want, it catches a little bit, but you can see there it does drops away, flush off quite nicely. And then the magnets, I haven't tested these either, but these are on a magnet now, so if you were to hit them, hopefully they'll come off without breaking. But that depends how well the glue is, I think, and the paint. I think it's going to lift the paint off by the looks of it. So it's not perfect, it's lifting the paint, I can just see there. So the magnet is so strong, it maybe have even glued, the PVA might have even glued them together. I might try that one. I'm going to just put the camera down for a minute so I can get them off. So yeah, the first one's, the paint's lifted, but the second one's going to work, like you can see there. I'm just going to lift it up and you can see the magnet. So that will pull off quite nicely, like that. So yeah, the bridge came down, couldn't do it one-handed, so couldn't film it unfortunately. It's quite tight, but then it's probably a good thing, because it means it does hold it really nice in line. So you can see there though, you can see the desired effect of it down, but you can also see the risk of knocking into those when you walk through the doorway, so that's why I put them on magnets. And then that's the other end where it connects up to. So yeah, pleased with that. Took a bit longer than I was planning. It took so long to dry. So just a short one this time. So I'll just finish with a few of my trains running over my new bridge, and I'll get on with my next video. So thanks for watching. If you like what you see, then please subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again.